A couple of weeks ago, I did a video with my friend Pete about how to be a good dad in a wheelchair. So today, I'm here with my friend Allie, and she's gonna show us how she's an independent wife as a wheelchair user. One of the things I like to do on this channel is answer the questions that I had when I first got hurt. Allie, what were some of the questions that you had when you first got hurt?
I remember one of my first thoughts was thinking about how independent I was before the accident, and I wanted to get back to cooking and cleaning and everything that I was used to doing around the house and not having to depend on anyone.
So you were already in a relationship with your now husband. Tell us a little bit about some of the concerns you had about being married.
My whole life, I had always, all these years, pictured myself walking down the aisle to my husband one day. So when it came to thinking about our relationship and getting married and everything, my first thought was, how am I going to walk down the aisle? I didn't want it to be any different because that's what I had always pictured. So I decided to use my leg braces to walk down the aisle. I didn't change anything. It was exactly how I had pictured it my whole life.
So one of my favorite things about you, Allie, is that you're extremely fiercely independent, and I think a lot of women could definitely use you as a positive role model. What were some of the ways that you found your way back into that independence?
I've always had just the go-getter mindset, and when someone tells me I can't do something, it just pisses me off and makes me want to do it even more. So doctors were telling me, oh, you'll never walk again, you'll never be able to do this or that again. It just gave me more drive and energy to want to do it, and I just jumped right back into it full force.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have a certain conception about what it means to be a traditional Southern wife, and that Southern women are all these princesses that have to be pampered and taken care of, and that's just not the truth in your case. So sounds like the laundry just went off. You want to go show us the laundry room?
Yeah, I just got done washing the sheets, and I'm going to show you guys how I make my bed. So these are my front load washer and dryer. You can always reach everything with a front load. I used to not have a front load washer, and I had a top load. And what I would do to get the clothes out was just scoot forward in my chair and use my grabbers to grab the things on the bottom that I couldn't reach. Just gonna reach in and grab these sheets. I'm doing sheets right now, so there's no need to fold them. I just set them in my lap and put them on the bed. But if it was clothes or towels or anything along those lines, I would fold them like from my lap and then just set them on top of the washing machine and then carry them to the closet. Making the bed can be difficult, and I absolutely hate it some days, but I'm so OCD, it has to be perfect. It has to be done in my way, my particular order, so I do it anyways. It has to be done in a certain way, and when Amos does it, it just pisses me off. He gets so mad at me because the whole time he's doing it, I'm like, nope, 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 tuck it tighter. And
then he does this, I'm not doing it, I'm not doing it.
He does. He'll storm out, he'll be like, you can f***ing do it. First, I start by taking all of the pillows off and throwing them in a corner. I just have to get the wrinkles out. Then I'll try to unravel all the sheets and find the corners. The hardest part could be spreading out the sheets onto the bed. So you literally have to do just one corner at a time. I just lean all the way down and just lift. Instead of a traditional bed skirt that lays flat under your mattress, this is a wraparound bed skirt so that I'm able to do it by myself and not depend on someone else to lift the mattress for me. The top of it is open, and I just transfer onto the bed and put it in between the mattress and the headboard. It's literally just an elastic band that just wraps around, so that way I'm able to take it off and wash it anytime it needs washing. So one struggle I have when I get to the top is I usually have to move the nightstands over, because with the nightstand in the way, I can't get to this corner. And once I get the corner halfway on, that way it's in the right spot, that's when I'll transfer onto the bed and finish adjusting it. I usually put my brakes on because as I'm lifting, it's gonna push me backwards. I'll get up here. All of that is still bunched up at the top, and I can't stand that, so I transfer onto the bed and tuck all of it too, to make sure everything is nice and neat and not so wrinkly. Next is the flat sheet, and I will just find the top and get it spread out on the sides and then tuck it on the bottom. I don't redo this whole thing, redo the whole bed every single day. It's just every time I wash the sheets. So I wash the sheets once a week, and that's when I redo everything. But just getting up out of bed every day, I'll just, you know, pull all the covers up flat and, you know, put the pillows on and everything, make it look nice and neat. But there is no redoing everything, the whole 9 yards, every single day. I was diagnosed with severe OCD when I was 7. If I was not so OCD, the spinal cord injury would be a lot easier. It's only gotten worse since the spinal cord injury. Like, I swear to you, I grew out of it for like the most part, the older I got. And then I got the spinal cord injury, and it just blew everything back out of whack. I'm so particular about how everything is done. I'll play with these pillows all day long until they're even. I'm not kidding. Okay, all done.
So I thought I was pretty particular about how I made my bed, but turns out Allie is the winner on that one. In the last video that Allie and I did together, we cooked here in her non-adaptive kitchen, and we totally forgot to show you guys how to clean up afterwards. So Allie's gonna show us her way of putting away the dishes.
It's actually pretty similar to the way an able-bodied person would do it, with a few minor tweaks. I start by pulling up sideways to it. So then I will back up and get the soap. As far as unloading, I'm able to put it all away besides my plates that go up really high on the shelf. So what I'll do is just take them out, set them on a counter, and when he gets home this evening, he'll just stick them in the cabinet for me.
One of the most annoying things about being a wheelchair user is cleaning your floor, and specifically vacuuming. Allie and I both have a Dyson that we're gonna show you here in just a little bit, but tell us a little bit more about this Roomba you got.
For daily maintenance, it's easiest to just have this set on my phone to a certain schedule and just have it run around the house and do, you know, the daily maintenance cleaning. I usually use the Dyson for, you know, if I'm deep cleaning or just for going over my thick rug in the living room and that kind of thing. But as far as everything else, this Roomba takes care of the job, and it would be extremely helpful and useful for you, especially if you do not have full finger or arm function. You just have an app on your phone, and you can set a schedule for it to run daily or every other day, however often you want it to run, and it can go at certain times, whatever you choose, and you don't even have to think about it. It will just start on its own and run its course and then go back to its charger. Yeah, she gets an error. So as you can see, it doesn't do very well on shag carpet. It goes over carpet and thin rugs, so that is what I have this Dyson for.
So I also have this vacuum, and a couple of things that I like the most about this vacuum is that it's cordless, so it doesn't get tangled up in your tires. It's super lightweight, so it's easy to manage, and it's super easy to clean. All you have to do is crack it open, dump it in your trash can, you're good to go.
So one of the biggest things with having a thick shag rug is it's easy to lose your balance when you're vacuuming. So I usually put my brakes on the side of the rug, so that way I don't wheel back and forth as I'm trying to push the vacuum, and I just do it from the side. When I get to the last side of the rug, I'll go into the middle of the rug, into the middle, and then back out off of the rug. So next I'm going to show you how I mop, and I just like to use a traditional mop because I found that it just works best. So instead of using a bucket, I just use the sink with the drain stopper, so that way I don't have to worry about wheeling and holding a mop and carrying around a bucket of mop water all at the same time. Let the mop sit in it and soak. When it's done, I put it into the other side and raise this and wring it out, so that way it's not just a puddle of water on the floor. So it's pretty much the same technique as vacuuming if I'm just going straight out in front of me, and I usually go straight out in front of me and just move backwards the whole way until I work my way around the house. But for instance, this section, to stay in the same direction as the floors to prevent streaks, I will put my brakes on and use both hands to be able to sway back and forth in the same direction. You don't always have to have your brakes on, but you're gonna be moving at the same time. So if you have good balance, you can just move at the same time with the mop. So when I'm all done, I'll just lift the mop back into the sink, dip it and get everything off of it, and then squeeze it out again and drain the water.
Thank you for showing us all the things that you do around the house in order to keep your independence and to be a good wife. In the beginning of the video, you talked a little bit about having a vision for your future and how you didn't want much to change, you know, such as walking down the aisle and, you know, keeping your systems and how you make the bed and whatnot. Have you thought that your life has gone the way you wanted it to? Are you living your painted picture?
No, but I'm living a better painted picture. Honestly, life now is way better than it ever was before, and I mean, I wouldn't change a thing. I wouldn't go back and do anything differently. I think everything panned out exactly the way that it was supposed to be, and I mean, I wouldn't change it.
I think that's a common sentiment that I hear from other independent wheelchair users, is that life didn't necessarily go the way that they wanted it to go, and that life is not easy. It's still very difficult, but the quality of life that they have, the relationships that they have with others, the relationship they have with themselves is better than it ever would be. And that's super encouraging, especially for new people, because I don't know about you, man, but when I was in the hospital, life was over. Life was done. I mean, my future was completely taken from me. Anything I thought I could do.
Especially those first couple of weeks, they were the hardest. I mean, all your friends and family coming to visit you, and you're just wondering all these things, you know, and thinking, wow, like it'll never be the same. And just, you know, thinking back to like memories of places and things that you had with those people, and knowing that it'll never be the same. And you think it's just gone, like, but it's really not. You can still do everything that you used to do, just in a different way.
Yeah, and that's the key word, is it's not over, it's just different.
You just adapt. And now, I mean, you get to a whole new normal, and now it's like you couldn't imagine it any other way. I mean, everything is just normal to me, you know? I
remember so vividly sitting up on my own was a challenge. Transferring into the wheelchair with those big goofy slide boards. Showering on
the tire.
Showering on my own, eating, learning how to drive. All these things consumed so much of my mind, and now they're just activities of daily living. I do the same thing, but just my way, and
you just have a couple more steps to do.
I mean, that's really it. I mean, a lot of people will ask, oh, what's the biggest thing about, you know, living life using a wheelchair? I'm like, more steps. It's just more steps. It takes longer to do things.
You have to, I'm definitely late everywhere I go now. I have all these extra steps to do, just as far as like getting dressed and just everything. And like you have all these extra things to do, and you can't just like be spontaneous and be like, oh yeah, I'm gonna hop in the car and, you know, go on this spontaneous vacation. Like, it doesn't work like that. You have to do all these extra steps and plan all these extra things.
And I used to get really frustrated at that. I used to get so annoyed because we were both really young when we got hurt, and it was a matter of like, spontaneity was my life. It was always like, yo, let's jump in the car and drive to Savannah, and like, we don't even know where we're gonna sleep, but who cares? You know, like, we got $20, like, we can make it. That used to bother me so much because I saw all my friends being so spontaneous. But what I've come to learn is, it actually, when you take time to plan and be more intentional, you enjoy the trip a lot more, because there's less roadblocks, there's less frustration, things are more planned out, it's less insane, I think. And you know,
it's more organized
and setting time aside for going grocery shopping or doing my house chores or setting time aside even to be intimate with my partner, you know, like that type of spontaneity. Like, it's not worse, it's just different. It's literally different. It's not the end of the world.
It used to drive me insane actually planning out sex in the beginning. Like, you know, you have to do a cath before, do a cath after. If not, I'm gonna get a UTI. Like, so that used to drive me insane. Now, of course, it just is like more normal and more spontaneous.
You know, even on that note, like you're in the process of child planning, like you're trying to get pregnant, and that has its own host of extra challenges along the way, and able-bodied or not, people deal with this. And I'm sure, you know, everyone, but I think even more people that are in, you know, more of like a traditional Southern relationship, the first question is, oh, like, congratulations on getting married. When are you gonna have a baby?
Oh my God. We've been married almost 2 years. For the past 2 years, that is literally the first thing. Someone that I haven't seen in years will see me in the grocery store and be like, oh, well, when are y'all gonna have a baby? What's taking y'all so long to have kids? And I'm like, would you stop asking that question? Like, that is so rude. Just going through this whole process now, like I would even before, like even able-bodied people would take that as such like an insult, like so rude, like to stop asking that question. I have people come up and ask random rude or questions about the wheelchair or whatever, or about my injury that comes off as rude, and I try to remind myself to them that like they don't know, they don't think of it in the way I do. They have a totally different mindset, and that plays a role in people asking about, you know, a baby and fertility and all that. Like I also try to remind myself like they don't know because they didn't struggle with infertility, so like they don't think like I do, so try not to take it so harsh, you know. And I'm sure everyone is wondering if everything works, if I can get pregnant, if I can still have sex, and the answer is yes to all of those questions. I can still get pregnant. I still produce eggs. I still have a period every month, just like any able-bodied person. The doctors always said, you know, as long as I have a period, I have no problem getting pregnant, because that lets them know that I produce eggs. So we've had everything checked. My husband and I both have had every fertility test done. We've taken medicines, we've done the whole 9 yards, and everything comes back normal. Nothing is wrong with either one of us, but I'm still not getting pregnant. And it's been almost 2 years that we've been trying now. So we are currently in the process of going through IVF, which is in vitro fertilization. So what they'll do is they will take my eggs out of me in a surgery, and they will take a semen analysis from Amos, and they will let the sperm and egg meet in a lab to create an embryo, and then they will transfer the embryo back inside of me for the baby to grow. So it's been a long drawn out process, partly because of COVID-19. So feels like forever waiting, but it's moving along now, and we are looking at doing an embryo transfer towards the end of July. So hopefully, with fingers crossed, that we get plenty of my eggs out and are able to make multiple embryos and can be pregnant before the end of the year.
Spinal cord injury comes with lots of challenges, as is, and it pretty much leaks into every area of your life. What have you found within the context of marriage to be some of the most challenging things?
I think in the beginning it was really rough timing, intimacy and everything. Sex was different, and I had to learn how my body worked again before I was able to, before you're able to just like do it spontaneously again. Because there's a lot that comes into play as far as cathing before and after to prevent UTIs, because UTIs are very common with spinal cord injury. So that, and then just doing bowel program before and after, so that way you don't have an accident during sex, because that's the last thing you want. And it happens. It's only happened to me once, and at that point you just have to laugh it off and keep going. It helps to have a partner that can laugh about it with you, instead of getting grossed out about everything and turning the opposite way. So that definitely helps. You have to have someone that understands every aspect of your life. And for me, Amos was there from the get-go. We were together before the accident, so he was there every step of the way. So it definitely helped that he understands.
That's one of the things that I'm so grateful for about Jalila, is that we have the ability to literally just figure out what works.
Yes, you just figure out a different way.
Yeah, you just try. You just keep trying. And I always joke about it, because it's I think most able-bodied people have 3 or 4 moves.
Yeah.
Dude, I go through 3 or 4 moves a month.
Yes.
I'm just constantly, we're just constantly going through
it. For me, my legs are they're flexible. I mean, I can literally get in any position that I want to, and before I couldn't do that.
All right, thank you for letting us into your home and showing us all the stuff you do around. For those people watching that don't know where to find you online.
You can find me on Instagram at Allie Grizzard or in the Like to Know It app at Allie Grizzard.
If you've enjoyed watching these videos and want to see more relationship videos like this, please be sure to leave a like and leave a comment down below. We're in the process of trying to find a spinal cord injury mother, so if you're a mother who has a spinal cord injury, and especially if you live in the Atlanta area, please be sure to leave me a comment or shoot me a DM on Instagram. Thanks for watching, we'll see you in the next one.